In this video, after an, in my view, excessive penalty, I get sent right the way back down the pack and have to try to recover through more dirty and careless drivers. Stay tuned to see if I can recover from this and bring home a decent result here. Hey guys, Eerie is here and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, then subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. You join me here in quali for this one, and after spending much of the session absolutely bored out of my mind saving fuel, with a little bit of help from the Portuguese driver up ahead in the sister Merc, I managed to put in a 1 minute 40.8 here, which at the time was good enough for a provisional pole, but ended up being second place in the end, which I will take as it is much better than last time out, and I'm also car number 17 in this one. So as the countdown is on here to get the race underway, we're in the Ghostbusters Mercedes SLS Group 4 car for this one, and we've got a long run down into turn number 1, so we're going to sit in the slipstream of the NSX up in front. I'm then, as we come down to the first corner, going to move a little bit out of the slipstream there, hoping he goes to defend, which he does, which is going to make the corner more acute for him, meaning he can't take it as quickly and allowing us a run alongside coming out of the corner. We actually get in front here on the run down to turn number 2 just for a little bit, but 2 does not go into 1 here and we're on the outside, so I give way. The next task for us here is to make our way around this long right hander. The Italian, you'll be able to see him there in the radar, is going to chuck it up the inside here. Now I didn't defend as I knew it was just going to lose us both more time if I did, so temporarily we're going to go down to third. We've concentrated on getting a good exit here, so we're going to slit in the slipstream here, hoping to be able to make a move down into the right hander. But that, as we approach the braking zone, is clear it isn't on, so I get out the throttle here, but there's going to be contact anyway. Absolute nightmare. He's going to go off up ahead, and then I'm going to get an SR down, and as you can see there, a 5-second penalty. Obviously not at all what I wanted there, and check out the minimap. As it is the start of the race, there are going to be so many cars close together, so I'm going to fall so far down the field when I serve this one. So coming into the final corner here, I'm just going to pull off the racing line and then head towards the gates. And as I come through the gates here, I'm going to start serving this 5-second penalty, and it feels like an absolute eternity, as what also feels like the entire field is just going to blast through while I serve it. And the damage just isn't done there, as I lose all my momentum down one of the longest straights in the game. The only longer straight that I can think of actually is the one at Tokyo, and I'm going to end up going from 3rd all the way down to 12th. But then I'm going to be able to outbrake the Lexus here to keep 11th, but all in all, for me, the sentence certainly did not fit the crime there, and after that ridiculous penalty, the fight to get my podium place back is on. And the first task here to get that done is to close down that 2-second gap to the last car there in that group up in front. So as we come down the start finish straight here to start lap number 3, I've managed to make a decent inroad into the cars in front, and coming into turn number 1 here, keep your eyes up ahead. The German is just going to throw it up the inside of that Italian in the Cayman and turn him round. He's going to just about hold on to it but not be able to do enough, so I'm back up into the top 10 already. In the distance as well, you can see 3rd at the head of this long snake of cars here, and that is the goal. But first things first here, we have to deal with this guy, the Frenchman in the sister Merc. We're not going to be able to make a move here around the outside. There's a bit of door banging going on as he pushes us wide, but we're just going to concentrate on getting a decent run out of this corner here onto this long straight. So we managed to do so. We're in good position here as we come through the kink, one of 2 kinks actually, on what I call this straight, and we're going to start looking for our braking area on the right hand side. We find it, slam on the anchors, manage to get it stopped, and we make the move stick. The Subaru up in front wasn't in front of us for long as he had to serve his penalty, elevating us up to 8th place now. Now we're in 8th place, the Corvette is up next. Coming through the long right hander here on the next lap, I decide to make a move up the inside. He then proceeds to turn in on us there. He must have either not known I was there or not expected it. Either way, we're through and up to 7th now. But as you will have seen there, I got another SR down, although I again, maybe biasly, didn't think I deserved that one at all. I felt the door was open and I was alongside at the point where we both wanted to turn in. The same exact thing happened to us on lap number 1, but we were actually the recipient of it, but there was no contact as I had the awareness to not turn in and just gave up the place. But as always, I want to know what you guys think, as I know critiquing myself isn't always the way to get a fair outcome. So let me know in the comments section down below. But either way, the race continues and we're up to 7th now. Coming down the start finish straight here to finish lap number 4 and start lap number 5, I am tucked in the slipstream of the Cayman in 6th, who in turn themselves are tucked into the slipstream of the Mustang in 4th. As we cross the line here, I'm going to look up the inside. The Cayman is then going to try and cover it, leaving the slipstream of the Mustang open. So I then tuck back into the slipstream of the Mustang, which pulls me alongside the Cayman. 5th then came across both of us to cover us, but I managed to get my braking point just right, braking a little bit earlier than I normally do because of the extra speed I would have got from the slipstream of the car in front, and I go round the outside and up to 6th. Fast forwarding to the end of this lap, we're in the final sector here and I am all over him. Whilst he is concentrating on me, I am concentrating on my lines to come out of the final corner and get a great run, and we are now alongside. I'm going to come back to the strategy as there's been too much going on to discuss it so far, but those on softs are starting to come in. But you keep your eye on the radar here as the Cayman behind is going to chuck one right up the inside and bump the Mustang out the way and follow us through. We are now up to 4th, albeit pit stops have started, so I'm clear the pack needs to shake out, but that podium that we are hoping to recover to is not actually looking that impossible. Now, as this lap will be our in lap, it is probably a good time to introduce the race and the strategy. So we have 17 laps here at Fuji, where fuel and tyres are both in play. Now, for the first time in a race that I've been involved in, we need to use both tyre compounds in this one. The softs, which we're on now, which will be quicker but won't last as long, and the mediums, which are the harder compound, which will be slower but will last much longer. So as I qualified on the front row, I decided to start on the softs, as the plan was to use the faster tyre to break away from the pack and then go from there, but that, thanks to the penalty, just did not go to plan. So as we come through the final sector here on our end lap, we are gonna switch to mediums, and I'm also going to add the fuel that I think I need, as well as switching to those mediums, as I can see from the minimap that I am going to be coming out in traffic and there's pretty much no way of avoiding it. So I'm going to come in here from 4th and change our boots and top up. After that pit stop then, I'm going to come out here in 11th, just behind that Corvette in front. The softs have lasted me 7 full laps, so I'm going to put some softs back on with 7 laps to go, meaning I only have to be on the slower tyre compound for a few laps. You can see though, as we come through this corner here, the difference between the softs and the mediums. So we've moved onto the harder tyre, as you would have seen, and the Cayman here behind us is on softs, and he's going to drive right around the outside of us here, coming through turn number 4. So that is case in point why I need to only do the required minimum amount of laps on these mediums. I want to get off them as soon as possible, and that will be in about 3 laps time. Coming into the final corner here, the Cayman you're going to see is going to make contact with the Lexus, who's going to go off and pick up a 4-second penalty. Now on the right hand side there, we overtake a Merc, and some of you may remember Bruno from the last video, who I flipped the bird to as he serves the penalty there. It's probably inevitable there for him. He's still up to his old tricks. So we're now up to the top 10 again as we start lap number 9. We're alongside the Cayman here, but pull out of the move as cars are starting to come out of the pits. And with the way my luck goes, and with the way I attract penalties for fun, I want absolutely no part of that at all as I try and recover back for this podium. Rejoining the action here a little bit further down the same lap here, lap number 9, you're going to see the Cayman throw one up the inside of the Toyota up ahead and take the place there. Taking the wide line, we are then going to take advantage of the grunt of this Merc and end up driving right down the outside of the Toyota. We're also going to take 8th place here as that Porsche served its 4-second penalty. He's no longer going to be an issue, and we're going to be, as we cross the line to start lap number 10, up to 5th by the time we get to turn number 1. Things are continuing to look good here on our road to recovery, but as there are 7 laps to go after this one here becomes our in lap, and it's time to get back on the faster compound and then end up going to the end. So, critical point of the race coming up. Pit stop made then, and we're going to come out just behind the Merc as I had to put some fuel in just to be safe. Keep your eye down the outside here as the German in the Subaru is going to come piling in and come right across the face of the Frenchman. There's now going to be some argy-bargy as they lean on each other coming down into turn number 2. Now we all know 2 does not go into 1 here. It's going to go wrong for one of them, so I get off the power early, just wait and see which one of them is going to have an issue. It happens to be the Frenchman, and I inevitably take the place. So we're up to 9th now. So looking ahead here, we've got the German in the Gran Turismo old school livery here. He's car number 3. So he's got a good driver rating in comparison to us, so he should be trustworthy. Now, making a move here, we're going to come down the outside and keep an eye on my line. This guy here is going to try another Bruno-esque move. Thankfully it doesn't work for him. I managed to keep it on the black stuff, but then keep your eye on the radar here as we come through this difficult bit. I thought the guy in front was a problem, but absolutely not. Unfortunately, it's going to be the guy behind who serves even more of an issue. So the yellows are going to come out here. Little did I know at this point it was the Gran Turismo gods trying to warn me as Pat Clash lives up to his name there and comes smashing it into me like a wrecking ball. And I, of course, get the SR down. But then look up ahead, the Subaru clearly wants to come into the pits, but Pat says 9 and he pushes him back onto the pit straight, meaning he has to go round once again. But I'm sat in the slipstream here. I'm going to pull out the slipstream. The German here is going to go to block me, and then keep your eyes up ahead. The Dodge up in front can't believe what he's seeing in his rearview mirror, thinks better of it all, and lets us all through. Wise move, my man. I'm then going to get another huge whack here from the side as the German almost loses it on the Astro, and we find ourselves side by side coming into turn number 2. Is he going to leave me enough space? Of course he's not. Thankfully though, he's picked up a 2-second penalty somewhere for something. I didn't see it myself, maybe you guys saw it, which is going to put my 5-second one into context really. The things that he's been doing versus the things that I did to get my 5-second penalty, and he only got a 2-second penalty one, drives me absolutely nuts, but it is what it is. So we're then going to take the position here at the end of the lap as he serves his penalty very politely on the racing line. All the time he's doing this stuff whilst ironically wearing a livery that has the real driving simulator on it. Hopefully that is the last that we see of this guy in this one. Keep your eye on the radar though, as more chaos is going to ensue here. The Ford and Chevy are coming out the pits. The Lexus is then going to smash into the back of the Ford as the Ford did not keep within the lines and then come across the curb and hit me. And yes, after all that, you guessed it, I get the SR down. Everyone though, in a positive spin on it, has made their pit stops now, and the field is now settled and will be going to the end. We've got enough fuel, and I can see the 3rd place car up ahead. The goal that we've been aiming for ever since we got that penalty at the start of the race on lap number 1 is finally in sight now. Moving forward a couple of laps here, the 3 cars that were spaced out in front of us have now closed right up together. This is because the Porsche came in front, is on worn tyres, which has sandwiched our friend Pat Clash, who, as a side note, amazingly has a penalty again between themselves and the Corvette, who has fresh tyres because he's only just come out of the pits. I too myself am under pressure from the German in the Ford behind, but I only have eyes forward in this one. So Pat here is going to serve his penalty, promoting us up to 5th place, and we're under the rear bumper here of the Corvette in front. So as we cross the line here, the Porsche is going to go to the inside to try and cover the Vette off, and then come back across in a second move. He cuts off the Vette there, which means he has to brake early, allowing us up the inside and into 4th place. And now I feel I need to make my move immediately. I get a good run out of turn number 1 here, so I'm going to pull out of the slipstream coming into turn number 2. I'm going to leave it in at all costs here, but the Porsche thankfully sees it, sees that the game is up, and then lets us go. And that's the way it was going to stay. Moving onto the final lap here as we come out of the final corner onto the start-finish straight in what has been an exhausting race that had pretty much everything, battling through BS penalties, dirty and careless drivers. I finally come home to recover and take the podium place we had in the first place. Now, as we can see here on the driver and safety ratings, we managed to get 600 points in this one, leaving us within 10k still of A+ on 40,459 points. Safety or sportsman rating, whatever you want to call it, amazingly stayed at 99, but considering the issues that we've been having recently and just the things that managed to find us as we try and navigate through these races, I am just happy that this and my driver rating is not plummeting. But for now guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.